Hey, so today we're going to dive into something that a lot of us might have experienced, but never really had a name for. It's this idea of being the responsible child. It's a role that often plays out behind the scenes, and you know what? I think it's time we bring it out into the open.
So let me ask you this. Does that question hit home for you? Maybe you are always the one smoothing things over, the one who just seemed to have it all together, even when you were just a kid. If you're nodding along right now, this is probably going to sound really familiar.
Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page. What do we actually mean when we say the little adult? What does that role really look like?
Right, so here's the key. This is way more than just being a helpful kid who does their chores. We're talking about a child who is consistently shouldering burdens, like managing a parent's feelings or being in charge of dinner every single night, that are really meant for grown-ups. It's a total flip in how the family is supposed to work.
All right, now we're getting to the core of it. We're going to walk through 7 pretty common signs of being a responsible child. As I go through them, just listen. See if any of these feel like they were pulled straight from a chapter of your own life story.
So, sign number 1, you were fiercely independent. And I don't just mean you liked doing things on your own. This is a deeper thing, a belief you learned really young that, hey, if you want something done, you've got to do it yourself. Because waiting for someone else to step up, that just wasn't really an option.
And that line becomes the soundtrack to your childhood, doesn't it? It's a little bit of pride and a whole lot of loneliness all mixed together. You absolutely can handle it, but you also feel like you have no other choice.
How about this one? Were you the family's unofficial referee? This often happens to kids who have this radar for the emotional temperature in a room. You become an expert at sensing when things are getting tense, and you just instinctively jump in to calm everyone down, to keep the peace, whatever it takes.
And that thought right there, wow, that says it all, doesn't it? It's not just that you want things to be calm, it's that you feel like it's your personal job to make it happen for everybody else. What a huge weight to carry.
This one goes deep. It's one thing to notice that a parent is sad or upset. It's a whole other thing to believe that their happiness depends on you, that it's your job to fix it. That is a heavy, heavy burden for any kid.
And this is the kind of thing you tell yourself, right? This constant nagging pressure to perform, to manage the emotions of the very people who were supposed to be managing yours.
When home feels a bit chaotic or unpredictable, a kid will look for stability anywhere they can get it. And a lot of times, that place is school or sports or music, so you become a perfectionist. Getting straight A's isn't just about doing well, it's about creating one little corner of your world that's safe, predictable, and where no one can find fault with you. And that's the whole game, right there. Perfection becomes your shield. It's your strategy for trying to control a situation that feels completely out of your control.
When your whole identity is wrapped up in being the capable one, the strong one, well, that leads us straight to the next sign. It feels almost impossible to ask for help. Because if you're the one who gives support, having to ask for it can feel like you failed somehow. It brings up that fear of being a burden, which is the one thing you've tried so hard your whole life not to be.
Ugh, that voice. It's so powerful, isn't it? It's the voice of that little kid who learned way too early that their needs had to come second. So let's talk about the practical side of this. We're not talking about taking out the trash. We're talking about things like cooking dinner for the whole family every night, being the primary caretaker for your younger siblings, maybe even dealing with household bills. These are the kinds of responsibilities that basically steal a childhood.
And you can just feel the sigh in that sentence. It's that quiet resignation, just accepting a responsibility that you know deep down should never have been yours in the first place.
And finally, we have to talk about the mental load. When you're a kid who's plugged into adult problems like money or marriage problems or job stress, you start carrying adult worries. And that can just settle into this constant low-level anxiety, a feeling that you have to be on alert just in case. And that sentence just captures it perfectly. It's a hope, not a guarantee. It's the sound of a kid holding their breath, just waiting and hoping for the best. Okay, so why are we talking about all this? Why does it matter now? Well, because the patterns we learn as kids don't just vanish when we grow up. They become the blueprint for the adult we become. They show up in our lives today, sometimes in ways that are really challenging. And this is where it all clicks into place. See the parallels? The kid who is always mediating arguments, that's the adult who hates conflict and will do anything to avoid it. The one who had to be the good kid, that person grows up to be a people pleaser who has a really hard time saying no. And that chronic worry, it just evolves into what we now call high-functioning anxiety. It's basically the same software, just running on a new operating system. Now look, the point of seeing these patterns isn't to get stuck in the past or to point fingers. It's about understanding. It's about finally getting why you do the things you do. Because once you have that awareness, you can take the pen back into your own hand. And that's really what this all comes down to. This isn't your destiny, it's just your history. Understanding where you came from gives you the incredible power to decide where you want to go. The rest of the story, that part is up to you.